We are going to start the session today with a new chapter, that is states of matter. But before I go into the chapter, let me brief you out with this site. I'll run through how to access the revision notes which I have already opened here and our test series which we are having in classics.com. Once you go to classics.com and click on practice,
Sorry for the inconvenience. Anna, just can you unmute it, Silsha? Some background voice is there.
hello Swapna, is it okay now?
Still it is there. Okay, carry on.
Hope it is okay now, Swapna.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry students. So once you go to practice, we are having different packages available. Since we are doing now for NEET, let us go to NEET Premium, and you are having test for each subject and a NEET full test. And at the top you have revision notes. Once you click on the revision note, it opens into a new tab. Let us start the chapter, that is our states of matter. If you think this chapter in the point of view of exam, it holds just 2% or it has the weightage of 2%. So when we say what is states of matter, immediately we know that states of matter, when we say, it is classified into three types, that is our solid state, liquid and gases. So immediately when we say solid state, how do we define that, or what is the first thing it should strike in our mind? So the first thing is they will have a definite shape. And why do they have a definite shape? It is because of the strong intermolecular force of attraction, and they will be having distinct boundaries as well as they have fixed volume, but the condition is they cannot flow. And basically, or you can say, they are negligibly compressibility. The compressibility factor will be very high because of the very small or negligible distance between the neighboring molecules, because we all know that solids are very closely packed. So just because there is a negligible distance between the neighboring molecules, you can say that compressibility factor for your solid will be negligible. And yes, they possess a tendency to uphold their shape whenever it is exposed to the external force, So when immediately we say water, if for example, if we say, this will be an universal example because it occurs in all the three states, solid, liquid as well as your gases. So from this you should conclude that there will be different physical properties for water, but of course their chemical properties will remain the same. And when we say solid, liquid and gases, the base behind the classification is nothing but the intermolecular force. So just because what is intermolecular force? The force of attraction or repulsion between the interacting particles, that is nothing but your atom or molecules. So the force of attraction between the repulsion, or you can say repulsion between the interacting particles, that is giving or that is making the particles to hold together. And when it is being held, so when there is a, you can say there is a freedom of intermolecular force, where some places it can hold much stronger, some places it is able to hold in, or the intermolecular force of attraction is very strong, high, less, comparatively based on the holding of your intermolecular force, or you can say based on the bonding between the molecules of your molecules or the atom, we are categorized into solid, liquid and gas. So immediately when we say what is a liquid state, then there is a different state existing, that is liquid. So a liquid is not going to have, or you can say there is no definite shape for a liquid, and basically it will take the shape of the container. In whichever shape of the container you are putting the liquid in it, it takes the shape of the container. It does not have a definite shape. And of course a liquid is going to have definite volume. That is important. If it does not have a shape, of course it will have a definite volume. And if I say definite volume, why it has a definite volume? The answer should be because of the weaker intermolecular force of attraction compared to your solids. And hence, since they are having weaker force of attraction, or their intermolecular force of attraction is weak, they are able to flow from higher level to lower level. Higher level to lower level, they are able to flow. And since you are saying that there is a weak intermolecular force of attraction, immediately we could conclude that a liquid is compressible due to larger distance between the neighboring molecules. Why I am stressing this point is that there is possibility of asking the reason why or which state of matter has high compressibility, or they are highly compressible. And if they are highly compressible, why they are compressible? And yes, liquid have lower density. And the next one, when we talk about our gaseous state, they do not have definite shape, neither they will have definite volume, because their intermolecular force of attraction is very weak. Intermolecular force of attraction is very weak compared to your solid and liquid. So ultimately we can conclude that they will not be rigid, of course, and it will be most, or you can say they are easily compressible, because the space between the particles of gas which compresses on applying pressure. So they can easily undergo diffusion, because the molecules in gas will move at a very fast rate, due to which the speed of diffusion will be very high. And next, if we are talking about different states of matter, as I told you, the important factor behind the existence of your different state of matter is your intermolecular force of attraction. So what is intermolecular force of attraction? It is the force of attraction or repulsion which is existing between the interacting particles, that is nothing but your atoms, or it can be molecules, or it can be in a compound. So when we are talking about force of attraction that is going to exist, so based on the whether the intermolecular force of attraction is strong or weak or very weak, we are categorizing your solid, liquid and gases. And here we should know one more name, that is the attractive intermolecular force. Sometimes it is also referred as van der Waals force, which is going to, and you will have van der Waals force to be of different types. And that is nothing but one force which is existing is called as dispersion force, or it is also sometimes referred as London force. So when I say dispersion force or London force, it is basically a force which is going to exist between all molecules. It will exist between all molecules. And when I say all molecules, why it is existing between all molecules? It is because they are, or these are very weak attraction, or these are existing between the very weak attraction occurs because of the random motion of electrons. Wherever you are having random motion of electrons, there your London force or dispersion force exists, as because these are very weak attraction. Wherever weak attraction exists, we can say that London force is existing. So we can say dispersion force or your London force, it can exist between your ionic bond or covalent bond or coordination bond, and these type of forces you can say that which is going to form a molecule will hold them together, and there you have the another term that is called as intramolecular forces of attraction. So you are having two different, or you can say one type of your force, it is your intermolecular force of attraction, and the other one will be your intramolecular force of attraction. And the Another category of your force which is existing is called as dipole forces. It is a force which is going to exist between the molecules wherever you have permanent dipole. Wherever we are having permanent dipole, and that dipole should consist of your partial charges which is always less than the unit electronic charge. And when we talk about knowing the definition of each is important, but yes, the high priority goes to the order, that is the order of strength of your intermolecular force. Do remember London force, it will be lesser than your dipole force, or you can say dipole, that is less than our H bonding, and that will be lesser than the ion bonding. So this order is important because they may ask questions based on it. And let us go to next concept, that is different laws. Different laws are very important. The important part of this chapter comes from your laws. So when we say Boyle's law, what is Boyle's law? That is nothing but we are going to analyze. Boyle's law was given by Robert Boyle, and it states that at your constant temperature, the pressure of a fixed number of moles of gas is going to vary inversely with its volume. Pressure is inversely proportional to the volume, and we can say your pressure will become is equal to K into 1 by V. So here we can consider this to be the proportionality constant, and this is going to totally depend upon the you can say amount and the temperature of the gas, and it will also depend upon the units in which we are measuring or it is being measured. And since you are dealing with your pressure as well as volume here, it is obvious that your temperature will remain constant. And when we talk about your next law, that is called as your Charles law, and it states that according to Charles law, we can conclude that your fixed mass of a gas constant or fixed mass of a gas at constant pressure, or your volume of a gas will increase on increasing the temperature, and it will decrease on decreasing the temperature. So when we say increase on increasing the temperature and decrease on decreasing the temperature, it is said that your volume is directly, or you can say V by T, or V is directly proportional to our T. So when we say V is directly proportional to T, what should we conclude from that? We can say that V by T is equal to a proportionality constant. And next law says or talks about your Gay-Lussac's law, where we are having pressure is directly proportional to temperature. Pressure is directly proportional to temperature, hence we can say P by T will be equal to a constant value. But here the most important law is our Avogadro's law. Volume is directly proportional to, or you can say as the statement, equal volume of all gases under the same condition of temperature and pressure is going to contain equal number of molecules. That means volume becomes directly proportional to the number of moles, or we could conclude volume is equal to your Kn. The four laws which we have discussed, it's very important, and numerical on it is also very important. So we need to focus on these four laws and the questions related to those laws. the most important part of this chapter. And when you conclude all the 4 laws, it reaches to a concept that is called as your ideal gas equation. If we try to inherit this, we have from Boyle's law, we know that it is volume is directly proportional to 1 by P. From Charles' law, we have volume is directly proportional to T. From your Avogadro's law, we have volume is directly proportional to N. Now, if we combine all these 3 laws, what can we conclude? Volume becomes directly proportional to NT by PV. Sorry, it is P. So, when we say the other way, it becomes PV is directly proportional to NT, and when you remove the proportionality symbol, we say it as PV is equal to nRT. PV is equal to nRT. So when we say that V is equal to, or we can conclude V is equal to nRT by P. Hence this question becomes important, or this formula becomes very important in order to solve the numericals. And please switch off your video. And when we say a theory, or it is kinetic molecular theory, the formula for it, half mv square is equal to 3 by 2 kT. Just we can have, because molecules are going to be point masses, that is having no volume, and gas atoms will apply to no constraint on different atom unless they are going to have the collision. And the atoms of gas in consistent or irregular movement, the temperature of the gas, when we talk of a gas, is going to depend upon the average kinetic energy, and that we say it as your half mv square is equal to 3 by 2 kT. And yes, of course, ideal gases possess the kinetic energy. Ideal gases will possess kinetic energy. And one concept to be important is your liquefaction of gas. We can liquefy, or we can easily liquefy the gas. Gases can be easily liquefied by your combined effect of compression and temperature. So on compression, if we say, the particles will get closer, whereas cooling will slow down as you are having the movement of the molecules. And if we are having the movement of the molecules, your intermolecular collaboration will hold the nearly and gradually moving particles together, and when the moving particles are coming together, gases can be liquefied. And the last concept says is surface tension. What is surface tension? Surface tension is going to refer to the amount of force which is going to performing per unit length, and that will be perpendicular to the line on the surface of the liquid. And of course, we should know about viscosity. It is a simple concept which says the resistance to the flow of liquid, and that will be arising because of internal friction which is existing within the layer. So here comes the end of the concept of our surface tension, states of matter. But yes, few formula or few hint is very important to note it. Like we are having the formula for your mean free path. And yes, it is very important, or you can say till now we are studying about 3 states of matter: solid, liquid and gases. But it is an additional information we should know that the 4th state of matter which is existing is plasma. Plasma is considered to be the 4th state of matter, and it is superheated gaseous state, which is going to consist of mixtures of your electrons as well as the positively charged ion, but still it is having some unusual properties. Hence we are studying only 3 states of matter, and the 5th state of matter refers to the supercooled solid, in which you are having atoms, or in which the atoms lose their separate identity and it will get condensed and behave like a super atom. So when we are studying about the different states of matter, or we are studying about surface tension and viscosity, their kinetic energy, there comes a concept that is called as collision number. It is nothing but the number of collision which a molecule is going to register with other molecules per second. It is the number of collision which a molecule registers with other molecules per second. Do remember, we get question where we need to calculate the collision number. And when we discussed about Boyle's law. When you are studying Boyle's law, it is important that Boyle's temperature plays a major role, or the temperature which we are calculating in Boyle's law, it says that Boyle's temperature is nothing but the temperature at which your real gas exhibits almost ideal behavior for all the considerable range of pressure. Hence these points are important, or it is highlighted just for easy revision, so that you are able to get the answers without preparing the entire chapter. And the next important is your hydrogen bond. It is nothing but the type of your dipole-dipole interaction which is going to be present in molecules with your high polar bonds. And yes, of course, your intermolecular force which is going to exist between the interaction between your molecules. And yes, there exists thermal energy because of your kinetic energy. As we have discussed, there is a movement of electrons, or you can say movement between the solid, liquid and gases. So whenever we have a movement, and internal energy will exist, and that internal energy we term it as a thermal energy. So before we attempt a test, it is easy and it would be simple or quick to revise the notes, and then if we take the test, it would be, our work will become easy. So please do go through the revision notes so that your work becomes simpler in order to answer the test. For now, let us, based on our analysis of the chapter or based on our practice, let us try taking a test from this chapter. Hence, if we go to chemistry, we are doing states of matter. Let us take the first test. So when the first question says is, an iron cylinder contains helium at a pressure of 250 kilopascal at 300 Kelvin, and the cylinder can withstand a pressure of 1 into 10 to the power of 6 Pascal, and the room in which the cylinder is being placed is going to catch fire, and predict whether the cylinder will blow up before it melts or not. So when we say volume of the cylinder, the volume of the cylinder they have always considered to be the constant one. So as usual, they have discussed, or they have given us the pressure and temperature. So when we try to solve it out, we can, since the volume of the cylinder, we can say that it is constant. So it's very simple to use the formula as your P1 by T1 will be equal to your P2 by T2. You could substitute P1 they have given us to be equal to 250 into 10 to the power of 3 divided by your T1 is 300 Kelvin, and that is equal to your 1 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by T2, which is an unknown value. If we cross multiply this T2, we will get it to be equal to 1200 Kelvin. Our option B should be right. Let us save that and go to next. We need to calculate the volume which is occupied by 7 gram N2 at 27 degrees Celsius and 750 mm of Hg. So immediately the first step whenever we try to attempt a question, it is very important to analyze what they have given us. That is the first criteria to attempt any question. So here if we check, they have given us the weight. So it should be W, they have given it to be 7 gram. Temperature, it is 300 Kelvin. Sorry. Pressure, it is 750 mm of Hg, 750. So let us convert that into ATM. We know that molar mass, that is your M of your N2, it will be 28, and as usual they have asked us to calculate the volume. When they have asked us to calculate the volume, the formula which should strike us is PV is equal to nRT. N given mass by molar mass, you can calculate it. So they have given us, given mass is 7 and molar mass is 28. Let us substitute that as 7 by 28 into R is 0.0821 into 300 is our temperature and the pressure. So we need to calculate your V. That means we should bring our P to this side, and when we bring that P, it will become reverse, that is your 760 by 750. Hence when you calculate this, you will reach to 6.239 liters. Let us see if it is existing. Yes, the option C should be the right option. Next, we have to calculate the temperature at which 28 gram N2 occupies a volume of 10 liters at 2.46. Once again, I stress we need to first collect all the given values. So from the given question, if I analyze the given values, they have given us our W is equal to 28 gram, P it is 2.46 ATM, V it is 10 liters, and of course we know M, that will be equal to 28. Once again we can apply the same formula, PV is equal to nRT, and then we can calculate it. But here we need to, PV is equal to nRT. The focus is they have asked us to calculate the temperature. Hence it is, we can say it will be PV by nR, that will give us the T value. All the values it is available with us. You can calculate it, you can calculate N with the help of given mass by molar mass, and we could conclude or we could reach to the answer. Hence if we substitute the value, it will be pressure is 2.46, volume is 10 divided by your 0.0821, and you can say N will be your 1 since it is 28 by 28. If we calculate this, we'll get an answer of 299.64 Kelvin. Hence the option should be B. Let us save that and go to next. They have asked us calculate the weight of CH4. Calculate the weight of CH4 in 9 liters cylinder at 16 ATM and 27 degree Celsius. So when they are giving us, let us list out what are all the values given to us. So the given values are pressure, they have given us 16 atm, volume it is 9 liters, temperature 300 Kelvin, and of course we need to calculate the molar mass of your CH4. So CH4 6 plus, so you will get 16, and PV it is equal to, once again let us apply the same formula, PV is equal to nRT. You could calculate this, and here nRT, we know the molar mass but we do not know the actual weight. That is what they have asked us to calculate. Hence PV we can write it as W by mRT. So W by mRT, we need to calculate W. If you substitute all the values in this, you will get an answer, or you could say it will be 16 into 9 divided by 0.0824 R value, and 300. We calculate this, we get around 96 gram. So our option A should be the right answer. Let us save that and go to next. Next they have asked us to calculate the density of carbon dioxide at 100 degree Celsius. We need to calculate the density of carbon dioxide at 100 degree Celsius and 800 mm Hg pressure. Once again, let us find out what are all the given value. They have given us pressure, that is 800 mm of Hg. So it should be 800 by 760 atm. Temperature, it is an 100 degree Celsius. We need it in Kelvin. So it should be around 273 plus 100. That is 273 plus 100. And then density they have asked, so let us assume that to be D, and as usual for your ideal gas equation we can use PV is equal to nRT. When we say PV is equal to nRT, where does your T comes from? We know that your density is equal to mass by volume. We know that density is equal to mass by volume. So in place of your n value, that is, we can also replace it as PV is equal to W by m RT. When I say W by m RT, and in place of, we know that D is equal to m by V, we can substitute it as, you will get it as your D by m RT. Hence all the other values you can substitute it here, and you will reach to an answer of your density, and that will be 1.5124 gram per liter. It is just a replacement of the formula. So 1.5124. It should be option A. Let us save that and go to next. Value of gas constant R. Value of gas constant R. This is a very important question, and along with that important question you are having an important information that your value which we consider for R, the value which we consider for R will depend upon the pressure, the unit of pressure which they are mentioning in the question. So when we are solving the question related to your PV is equal to nRT, wherever they have given the value of your pressure, based on the given value or the given unit of pressure, we need to choose the value of R. It is not that always we need to take 0.08241 and so on. it is not a fixed one based on the pressure they have given in the question, and the unit is important. Based on that we should select what is the R value we need to consider. So here it is a known fact, it should be 0.082 liter atm per Kelvin per mole. That is, if I give you the value, it should be R is equal to, some places it is considered to be 8.3 joule per mole per Kelvin, or some places when it is given in calorie, if I want to take, it is calorie per mole per Kelvin. It can be taken as 8.314 when the value into 10 to the power of 7 when we are giving in unit as in energy, and yes, of course, liter 0.0824 liters atm we are having. So based on the unit, we need to decide what is the value of R we are going to consider in the numerical given. And kinetic theory of gases proves, of course, from the given option immediately it should strike us that the value should be the kinetic theory of gases, or the kinetic theory of your gases formula is going to prove all the following laws: your Boyle's law, Charles' law, Avogadro's law, all the, even we are having Dalton's law, partial pressure, as well as Graham's law of diffusion. All these laws are proved by kinetic theory, hence here the option should be all of these. Let us save that and go to next. For an ideal gas, the number of moles per liter in terms of its pressure P, gas constant R, and temperature. It is just a rearrangement of the formula. PV is equal to nRT. It is just a rearrangement. So from the given option, if we say that PV is equal to nRT, PV is equal to nRT. I can also write it as N by V is equal to P by RT. So it can be just a rearrangement. Whichever option fits with that rearrangement, we could mark that as a right answer. So it can be even P by RT. Okay. According to kinetic theory of gases, in an ideal gas between two successive collision, a gas molecule travels. A gas molecule travels. If it is an assumption, if we take that kinetic theory of gases, the gas molecules is always going to travel in a straight line path. It is a fixed, or it is a standard information, or it is a property. Kinetic theory of gas in an ideal gas, that is ideal gas between two successive collision, it is going to travel in a straight line path. Let us save that and go to next. As the temperature is raised from 20 degrees Celsius to 40, the average kinetic energy of neon atoms changes by a factor. How the kinetic energy is going to change, we have to calculate. So as we discussed, kinetic theory formula is 3 by 2 RT. Kinetic theory formula is your, or kinetic energy formula is your 3 by 2 RT. If I assume E1 to be for first kinetic energy, I can say 3 by 2 R, and the temperature what they have given us, it is, there is a difference, raised from 20 to 40. Do not forget to convert from degree to Kelvin. That is important. So first one they have given us 293 Kelvin, and the second one, if I say E2, let us assume the second kinetic energy to be E2, it will be 3 by 2 into R into, at the temperature is 40, so 40 plus 273. Hence, in this we could calculate, or how do we relate our E1 and E2. So the only, these are all the same value in E1 and E2, so you could cancel it, and we can relate our E2 B2 equal to your 313 divided by 293 into your E1. It is just a relation we are deriving from the given value or the change in temperature, how the kinetic energy of the given atom is changing. Hence our option should be C. Let us mark that and go to next. In van der Waal equation of your state of gas law, the constant B is a measure of. All of us know the van der Waal equation, and we are having A and B in it. We have A and B in the value or in your van der Waal equation. Let me write down the van der Waal equation for you. So we all know that the van der Waal equation is P plus AN square by V square into your V minus NB is equal to nRT. So from this, what is the value of A, and what we do say it as B, where, and we consider the moles of the gas to be A and B as constant specific for each gas, and here their question is we have to just find out B is a measure of. What does B stands here, or constant B? So we could conclude that constant B is nothing but the volume which is occupied by the molecules. B stands for the volume which is occupied by the molecules. Let us save that and go to next. The ratio between the RMS speed of H2 at 50 Kelvin and O2 at 800 Kelvin. The RMS speed of 50 Kelvin. So we all know the formula as U1 by U2 will be equal to your. So since we know it is U1 by your U2, we can substitute, and then we will get it as 3RT1 by your M1 into reciprocal, since it is ratio, so it should become as M2 by 3R2. So when we substitute the given values in place of R T1, let us say T1 M2 by your T2 M1, the given values to us is 50 into 32 divided by 800 into 2. So when we calculate and take a square root of it, we get the value to be 1. Hence you are saying the ratio between the RMS speed. So the answer should be C. Let us save that and go to next. The very important part of this chapter is your ideal gas equation and the different laws we need to focus, and the formulas being used. If we know that, it will be simple enough to solve the question from this chapter. Let us see the next question, that is our 13th one. So when we say they have given us X ml of H2 gas effuses through a hole in a container in 5 seconds, and we need to calculate the time taken for effusion of the same volume of gas. Here they are mentioning the same volume of the gas which is being specified below. So they are mentioning the same volume of gas. So we all know the rate of diffusion formula. It says that R is, or rate of diffusion, is directly proportional to 1 by molar mass, and that should be in root. So here they have asked us to calculate the ratio. That means let us consider R2 by R1, and hence it should become as M1 by M2. So M1 by M2, we all know, we can say R2 by R1 as your V2 by T2 as well as your V1 by T1. So it should be again root of m1 by m2. Whatever the values it is given in the question, we need to just replace it, and then we could reach to a conclusion that it should be 5 by t2. We will get it to be equal to root of 2 by m2. So, but here it holds good in order to analyze your trial and error method here, because two values will be unknown. So here you cannot reach by solving the question. You need to substitute the option by trial and error method. From the given option, we have to cross check which fits into this, and if you do a trial and error, you will come to a conclusion that t2 will be equal to 20 seconds. Let us save that and go to next. Once again I repeat, you will not reach to an answer since two values are unknown. Hence we need to do a trial and error method from the given option. It is always not compulsory that we will reach to a direct answer, but yes, sometimes there are chances that we need to arrive to the option or arrive to the right answer from the given option also. So let us save that and go to next. Here the compressibility factor for an ideal gas is. What is the compressibility factor for the ideal gas? It is a well-known fact. PV is equal to nRT. When we do your compressibility factor will be equal to 1. The compressibility factor for an ideal gas will be equal to 1. Let us save that and go to next. According to Graham's law, at a given temperature, the ratio of rates of diffusion RA by RB of your gas A and B is given by, it says your Graham's law. So if we write the formula for the Graham's law, it is R1 by R2 is equal to your root of m2 by m1 into p1 by p2. It is just, if you look at the option, it does not require any solving, but it is just the rearrangement of the given formula. I repeat, it is rearrangement of the given formula. This can also be written as, you can write it as PA by your PB or P1 by P2, whatever we use. It can be written as your MB by MA the whole half, because it is in root. This A and B, it is not a standard one. I am just taking the replacement they have used in the option, because the rate of diffusion, it is RA by RB, and here they have given gases A and B. The standard formula says just R1 by R2 and equal to your root of m2 by m1 into p1 by p2. Since here they have used in the question as gas A and B, we need to replace 1 with A and 2 with B, and it is just a rearrangement of the formula which will reach to the given option. Very easily you can reach to the option, and we say that your option C is the right answer. Let us save that and go to next. Since we have completed all the 15 questions, let us give n test and see how many. And whenever you are attempting any test paper, any test, that is either NEET full test or it is a chapter wise test, doesn't matter, to keep an eye on the time. Answering the question alone is not important, but answering the question within the given time is very important. And whenever you try for taking a test, it is very important that we revise that particular chapter and feel confidence, so that we are able to attempt all the question correct. Let us see how many questions we have done it right. Let me give n test. So here this says green indicates that we have given all the question to be right, If we would have given any one question to be wrong, or whichever question is wrong, it will be indicated red in color, and if we leave any question unanswered, that is we have not attempted the question at all, then it will be indicated in yellow color. And if we need to know any explanation of the question, how it is solved, or if I have gone wrong, I need the right answer, you could click on the question. It will give you the right answer, and along with the right answer you will get an explanation how the right answer is reached. It will give you a clear idea where we have done a mistake and where we need to rectify it. So that's all I have from the chapter States of Matter, and I repeat, it holds 2% of the weightage in the test paper. So this is the end of the session. Swapna.